Hello and welcome to Thomas Geiger Car. Today with a glimpse into the electric future of Mercedes-AMG. Mercedes is full throttle on the electric avenue, just launching the next generation CLA and claiming it to be an electric revolution and game changer. But that is the volume brand. Today we're talking about the sports subsidiary from Affalterbach. Yes, they had their electric cars already, but these are just powerful enhanced models of the standard Mercedes cars. Now they're bringing their first own dedicated electric sports car. Since this car is roughly a year away from now, they're teasing us with a concept and technology design case, the AMG GT XX. If you want to know what to expect from that vehicle that hits the road in 2026, join me in my first walk around here at Thomas Geiger Car. If we look at the car for the first time, it is a bit surprising because AMG claims to be a sports car brand, and here we have a four-door car of a size of 5 meters and 20. But since it should replace the AMG GT four-door, the oldest of the pure AMG cars, and since it's mainly headed towards the US and China, where the cars sell better with four doors, this is a quite smart move. And even if it's a big car, it's a very sleek car. It's only 1 meter 32 in height, and it is very aero efficient. We have a drag coefficient of 0.198, which is almost as good as the aero efficiency champion EQXX, which had 0.170, but was much smaller, was not as fast and not as performing as this car. To achieve that, Mercedes has done quite a lot of work in the aero tunnel and has developed some very, very smart details like the aero wheels. Usually you have the contradiction of getting air into the brakes to cool it and to keep the air out to keep the drag low. For this reason, they have developed special plates that can move. So if you need the cooling for the brakes, the flaps open, the air breezes in. If you don't need the cooling, the flaps close and you have the cool drag coefficient. Another cool detail from the innovations department is that illuminating color down here. This is a paint that you apply on the body that you can light up with putting on some voltage, and you can communicate, for example, the charging status. If we go around the car, we see a very, very sleek back without any aero works that is visible, despite the diffuser down there. We have 6 light tubes for rear light and braking light that kind of are a reminiscence to the exhaust, because designers just love the exhausts, even if an EV doesn't need an exhaust anymore. And we have a huge air brake that only deploys when you really need the downforce. That's the formality. Now let's talk about the technology, because the car looks stunningly fast and it should drive even faster. How is that achieved? With brand new motors and with a brand new battery. For the first time ever, Mercedes is using the axial flux motors, which are very, very compact because the magnetic field is running in a different direction than in the standard electric motor. So one motor has only the size of a cake that you buy in the bakery. They're putting in 3, 2 at the back, 1 in the front, giving you 1,000 kilowatts or 1,360 horsepower, the least. But you need that power to propel the car to a speed of 360 kilometers per hour. The energy for that comes from a brand new battery with brand new dedicated AMG cells that are very slim, that are very high, and that are individually cooled. So you don't only have the performance in one peak moment, but the motors and the battery are long-lasting and high performance for a long time. So it's not a sprinter, it's the marathon runner with a very, very high pace. And once you've done your marathon, you can easily recharge very fast. The battery runs on a voltage level of more than 800, and it can charge with more than 850 kilowatts, giving you 5 minutes for 400 kilometers, or from the distance from Affalterbach to the racetrack in Spa-Francorchamps. I think the 400 kilometers is not all of the range, because it's just for 5 minutes charging. I assume the car will have a much bigger range. Mercedes is not telling yet, but I would guess 600, maybe even 800 kilometer as the figure at the end in the data sheet. So that's the theory. I would love to show you the practical side of the vehicle as well. I doubt that I can drive it, but at least I can offer you a glimpse into the interior because that has some smart solutions as well. If we look through the interior of the GT XX, we see a standard four-seater layout as we know it from the GT four-door in production. It's a bit tinier than the production car because it's a show car, and if you want a real comfortably limousine, you better go for the EQS, but it seats 4 persons quite comfortable. The reason for that is the seats are built in the 3D printer, individual to the size and the shape of the occupants, at least for the show car. I have my doubts that it will be standard on every vehicle, but technically it's possible. Other than that, we see a lot of nothing. It's very reduced. It is only black and some bright orange colors, taking off the color from the exterior and taking off the color of the cables that you use for the high voltage technology underneath the body. The rest is pure racing technology. We have a steering wheel, somehow like in a Formula One car, or at least in the AMG Project One. We have door handles with flaps instead of real handles. We have the checkered flag all around. We have the AMG logo all over. So that is pure AMG breed. And we have some nice materials as well. The dashboard, for example, is open top and is based on a metal frame that is covered with a paint that you usually use to paint engine blocks. Since there is no engine anymore, this tradition is transferred into the interior. We have an artificial silk built with proteins in the lap for the door flaps, and the coolest gadget is the leather on the seats, because what looks like leather is an artificial material based on old worn-out racing tires. What better fit you can have in a sports car than putting old racing tires into the seat materials? It looks cool, it works better, is more durable than leather, and you have a good conscience with it as well. The only thing that's missing is the key fob, or at least the starter button, but I think they took it away on a purpose because we're not allowed to drive yet, and they're teasing our appetite, and I can't wait to get this engine started and to see how the car really drives. Thanks for joining me on that first walk around with the AMG GT XX technology and design showcase, a car that really whets my appetite to get the hands behind the wheel of the production model, because this is the first dedicated electric sports car from a company tuner, a sports subsidiary of one of the German volume brands. We have something like an Audi e-tron GT, we have some very sporty versions of the Porsche Taycan, but this is the first real sports car that hits the road pretty soon. And with all the technology, I'm pretty convinced this will transfer the ideas of an AMG GT and an AMG GT four-door into the Generation E. If they then still manage to get us some emotions, this really could work with the electrification of AMG. Thank you, Shishya, Saitien, and goodbye.